Welcome to Drawtective, where I take your silly series and makes even funnier fan art. I'm Sky, and today I'll be making my own Drawtectives OC and giving her some lore. Drawtectives is quite literally my favorite series ever, I think. I literally forced my friends to watch it because I genuinely think it's good. So please make sure you go to the to the description and go watch it because it's really good. I wanted to make my very own PI, private illustrator, basically somebody who like does her own investigations. My headcanon is that she actually, when she was younger, used to work for Jancy, but due to some complications with a specific case, she was actually fired because um, of like a big test or something. I took the inspiration from the first season where they were like, if you don't solve this case, then you're not a drawtective. So maybe that's what happened, or maybe it was just like a really frustrating case that they couldn't solve together. Either way, I really wanted to make this character kind of like a self insert, but not really, which is why some of these previous designs got canned because I just I didn't think they really fit. I wanted her to have a professional vibe. But the other thing I wanted to do was that if in the case she was ever actually in the series, what type of role would she play? And I kind of noticed that like in the more recent series, like the seasons, is that there's not really a straight man anymore. When it comes to comedy, you have like the silly people and then you have the straight man. Jancy was definitely the straight woman for sure. The straight man of the group, where she just kind of was like monotoned and like, okay, children, you're doing too much now. So I think that Sarah here. Oh, her name is Sarah, by the way. I know that Julia loves her puns, so her name is Seraphim, like a seraphim angel. Um, I'll put the actual spelling in the description, I guess. And I wanted her to be this kind of like aloof, serious, private investigator slash private illustrator who just is like super like no nonsense to the rest of the group. I wanted her to have these really soft, beautiful features, and I wanted her colors to be a little bit different than myself because while she is kind of a self insert, I don't really see myself in her at all aside from like the fact that she is brown and has angel wings on her head. Does that even make it seem like it's myself? I guess not. I guess she's kind of her own thing now. I was not a fan of her outfit aside from her like really cool eye belt. I kind of noticed that in Drawtectives, a lot of the characters are almost like overly campy. So I wanted to drive home the fact that she's supposed to be a seraphim angel. So her halo is actually the like hair accessory on the back of her head. And she has like eyeball earrings and she has three eyes and her belt is eyes. Like everything, everywhere you could possibly think there's eyes. Yeah, there's eyes there. That because she got to see, right? I really love her color palette as well. Although, once again, I'm not a huge fan of her outfit. Maybe in the future I'll post on my Instagram or my TikTok of like what I think she would look like in other outfits. But I also did some fun like mini sketches, so stay tuned for those. Because I wanted to talk about like what I think the relationship between the characters would be, but how she would be introduced is very simple. She would call Jancy, apologize for lashing out at her, and then ask Jancy to send her detectives to like a big crime. I think it would be like some type of cold case that just got some new information about it. Maybe a little note, maybe there was like a new crime that was like similar to the original. I'm not entirely sure, but what I do know is that she would have to like work together with the detectives and try and figure out what happened. I don't know where I want the setting to be. I'm trying to think of like a place where the group hasn't been. I kind of would love to see like a maybe like a beach town, maybe like a boardwalk beach town. Ooh, boardwalk beach town. Oh, that'd be really cool actually. Yeah, so boardwalk beach town murder. Who's to say? I still really like how her hair looks and I think that her like white lashes really makes her stand out from the other characters. Now on to like her relationships with the other characters, starting with Jancy. I think Jancy and Sarah go way back. I think Sarah knew Jancy back when she was like really young, and so they have like a mother daughter sort of relationship. But because of the fallout, they just don't really talk anymore. I think Jancy still has a soft spot for her, but I don't think that Sarah felt like she could be ever forgiven for what happened. I try to draw like what I think a slightly younger Jancy would look like, because I think it's like slightly younger. I think that Sarah Lily happened like right before she met York and Rose and Granddon, Grandma, Grandpa, whatever, all the above. Um, I drew this really fun outfit for Jancy, very fancy. I like to think that Jancy got like super duper fancy when she was a bit younger, and then started to dial it back as she got older. So that's why I gave her this like really fun, funky collar inspired by uh what's his name? The other character. I can't think of his name right now. And then I also made what I think Sarah would have looked like when she was younger. The next character I think is Grandma. Is it Grandma Grendon? Gma? Yeah, I think it's Gma. So I don't think that Grendon is like the most silly out of all of them. I think that Grendon often gets like uh shoved under the bus sometimes. I love Grendon. I think they're a really fun character. I just don't think I did them justice in this sketch. I promise I can draw them better. Um, but I think that Sarah and Grendon would actually get along very well in the beginning, and then start talking about animals because Sarah has a cat, and maybe she would ask Grendon if uh if he would possibly walk her cat, because cats need to be walked too. If you didn't know, they do. Next is Rose and Sarah. So I think that Rose and Sarah would end up becoming more like sisters because they both see Jancy like mom. But I think in the beginning, I don't think Sarah would have liked Rose and would have had feelings because she used to be what Rose is. Like she used to do all the paperwork and stuff. So I think at first she would kind of be like, eh. But then like the rest of the group would just like definitely like grow on her, and of course Rose would grow on her. Honestly, I can see Sarah being like big sister to Rose, and I think they could like learn to talk about some things that only they could talk about. Now with York, Sarah has a big fat crush on York, cuz York is canonically like attractive cuz he's a model, but I think like Sarah being this like very technical, very smart brainiac type of person, very logical, would find his absolute like idiocy to be very endearing, but she would never say anything about it. She quite literally would never say anything about it, and I don't think York even has an idea that she could possibly like him. And I think that's even funnier. I think that's like hee hee ha ha. I think that's very funny. It's definitely one sided, probably. Who's to say, unless it's canon in my heart. So these are all the sketches. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me if you have a Drawtectives character. Also, if the Drawfee people are watching, I love your work. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.